Noah and the Ark, faith through the storm. There are moments in history when everything seems normal on the surface, but beneath it, something is terribly wrong. People go about their daily lives. Cities grow. Families work. Markets fill with activity. But slowly, almost unnoticed, kindness begins to disappear. Compassion fades. Greed grows. Violence spreads. And before long, the world becomes a place very different from what it was meant to be. This is the story of one man who chose a different path. A man who remained faithful when everyone around him turned away. A man who trusted through uncertainty. A man named Noah. Long ago, the world had become filled with corruption and violence. People cared more about themselves than others. Arguments turned into cruelty. Power was abused. Honesty became rare. The hearts of many people had grown cold. When God looked upon the earth, he saw a world drifting further and further away from goodness. It was not the world he had intended, and it grieved him deeply. But among all the chaos and selfishness, one man stood out. His name was Noah. Noah was not perfect. He was not a king. He was not wealthy. He was not famous. But he was faithful. He tried to do what was right. He cared for his family. He treated people with kindness. And he chose to walk a different path from the crowd. While others followed selfish desires, Noah remained committed to living with integrity. Noah lived with his wife, his sons, and their families. Together they worked, lived, and built their lives. Yet all around them, the world continued to grow darker. Many people mocked goodness. Many ignored wisdom. And few seemed interested in changing. Then one day, Noah received a message that would change everything. God warned Noah that a great flood was coming. A flood unlike anything the world had ever seen. The corruption of humanity had reached its limit. Judgment was coming. But alongside the warning came a plan. God instructed Noah to build an enormous ark. A massive vessel large enough to protect his family and countless animals during the coming flood. The task must have sounded impossible. Noah had likely never seen anything remotely like it. The ark would be enormous, hundreds of feet long, built from timber, designed to survive a catastrophe that no one else even believed was possible. Imagine standing in an ordinary field and beginning construction on a gigantic ship. No ocean nearby, no storm clouds overhead, no evidence of danger, only a promise and a choice. Trust or doubt. Noah chose trust. Day after day, year after year, Noah worked. His family worked alongside him. Wood was cut. Beams were lifted. Walls were assembled. Slowly, the ark began to take shape. As it grew larger, so did the questions. People gathered to watch. Some laughed. Others shook their heads. Many thought Noah had lost his mind. They mocked him. They ridiculed the enormous structure, and they dismissed his warnings. Life seemed perfectly normal to them. Why prepare for a flood when the sky was clear? Why spend years building something so strange? Why believe something nobody had ever seen before? Yet Noah continued. Not because it was easy, not because everyone supported him, but because he trusted what he had been told. The years passed. The ark grew larger, and eventually it stood complete, towering over the landscape, a symbol of faith built board by board. Then something remarkable happened. Animals began arriving. At first, people may have thought it was coincidence, but soon it became impossible to ignore. Pairs of animals appeared from every direction. Large animals, small animals, creatures from distant regions, gentle animals, powerful animals. They came steadily and calmly. Birds filled the skies. Their wings darkened the horizon. Animals moved across fields and pathways toward the ark, 2 by 2, step by step. The sight was extraordinary. People stopped what they were doing. They stared in amazement. Confusion spread through towns and villages. Nobody could explain what was happening. Yet the animals continued arriving. Lions entered the ark. Elephants entered. Fear must have been present. Questions must have filled their minds. Yet they remained together, trusting, waiting, believing. The waters continued rising higher and higher. Soon the ark lifted from the ground. For the first time, it floated. The world Noah once knew disappeared beneath endless water. The ark drifted across a vast ocean that covered the earth. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Life inside the ark required patience. Animals needed care. Supplies needed management. The family had to adapt to a completely different way of living. There were undoubtedly moments of uncertainty. Moments when they wondered how long the journey would last. Moments when hope felt distant. But they endured. Because faith is often tested not only during crises, but during waiting. Eventually, the rain stopped, but the waters remained. The ark continued floating. The world outside was silent. Then Noah decided to search for signs of land. He released a raven. The bird flew away, searching across the waters. Time passed. Then Noah released a dove. The dove returned. There was nowhere to rest. More waiting followed. Days later, Noah released the dove again. The family watched carefully. Hours passed. Then the bird returned. But this time, it carried something. An olive leaf. A simple leaf. Yet it meant everything. Life was returning. Land was emerging. Hope had arrived. Imagine the joy, the relief, the gratitude. After so much waiting, there was finally evidence that the storm was ending. Eventually, Noah opened the ark again. The waters had receded. Dry ground appeared. Fresh air filled the world. The time had finally come. One by one, the animals left the ark. Birds filled the sky once more. Animals stepped onto the renewed earth. Noah and his family followed. The world looked different. Clean, fresh, renewed. The storm was over. The waiting was finished. A new beginning had arrived. Then, something beautiful happened. A rainbow appeared across the sky. Brilliant colors stretched from horizon to horizon. It was more than a beautiful sight. It was a promise. A reminder of God's mercy. A symbol of hope after hardship. A sign that even after judgment, renewal was possible. Noah stood beneath that rainbow and looked upon a world given another chance. And perhaps that is why this story continues to resonate thousands of years later. Because everyone faces storms. Not always floods, but seasons of uncertainty. Moments when the future feels unclear. Times when doing the right thing feels lonely. When others doubt. When patience wears thin. When hope seems distant. Noah reminds us that faith is not about having all the answers. It is about continuing forward when answers are not yet visible. It is about trusting during the waiting, persevering during the